Looking forward to the week, have you already started looking ahead towards Philadelphia?
Oh yeah. We've last practice worked on some things that they'd like to do last year, and some things we saw they did in the exhibition game. So yeah, that's our focus right now is the 28th, and it's not any further than that.
You anxious, ready to go, and happy, and
Yeah,
good time of year for you.
I'm. After Christmas, I've got 4 children at home, so that's a big priority for me right now. Make it as fun as we can make it. But after that, after the presents are opened and the celebration is done a little bit with the family, then it's focus.
What sort of agony did you go through on the roster cuts? I know everybody's got more players than they can dress and put on the roster limit. I assume that's a difficult process.
It is. It's difficult. We, with the coaching staff and the scouting staff, and everybody had input, and different scenarios, age, experience. You just go on, and can a guy play offense and defense and things like that. So. A lot of thought went into it, and it was tough to tell the guys because they did everything that we asked them to do, to be quite honest with you. And to cut a guy and give him the excuse because of numbers, that's real difficult. And it's the way it was. So, but we've made our decisions and we're moving on.
Looks like you had 16 guys coming back from last year out of 20, plus the obvious Smith and Banesh coming back. It sounds like it's a pretty veteran group, and you got some kids on the practice squad, or it might be good. You feel good about the way that worked out?
Yeah, you know what though, and we went in with a clean slate here. Like everybody had to make the team, so. I didn't look at the numbers, how many guys were on the team and that, but that might not be a bad thing. The team was 1 goal from finishing second place, right? And unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs. But hey, there's always this year, and I think it's the guys came and earned their spot. So we believe in what we have here, and we're ready.
When the roster came out, Troy, everybody noticed the F after Mark Steinhaus's name. We're used to a T there. He seemed pretty happy by that announcement that he might be coming out the front door a lot this year. Could you talk about that process and what you were thinking there?
As soon as I was named coach, that was probably one of my first phone calls to tell him to start thinking about just playing offense. He has so much to offer. His skills are incredible, and not that he's a waste on defense. I think there's made room for some other players to make the defensive roster, and we also have in our back pocket that if we're low in numbers on defense, we know that he can play the defensive role and transition up. But we want him to focus on offense. We want him to get his numbers back. We want him to be one of our key guys.
Everybody healthy? You have any problems in that sense a week out before first game?
Yeah, a couple of little nagging injuries. It's difficult, right? Everybody was, going real hard to find a spot in the team, and it was pretty competitive, a lot of battles, and we got a couple nagging ones, but nothing that's going to hold anybody out.
In the second round of the draft this year, consecutive picks of Nick Lachenko and Mitch Wild. It's tough to make a roster as it is, but the margin of error between those two, one making the practice squad and one being the first selection of the team this year, not making the roster. What separated those two, and in terms of the youth as well?
Well, one earned it and one didn't. That's what separated it, right? Mitch Wild came in; it was unbelievable, and we're still very high on Nick Lachenko, but rules say we don't have a farm team to send him to, and unfortunately there wasn't a spot for him. Mitch Wild was a force out here, and he came in and he knew he was in for a battle, but how can you send a guy away that did what he did, scored 4 goals in an inter-squad game. He's got great transitions, smart with the ball, young, big physical player, so he earned it.
Anybody else surprise you in camp? You obviously had a familiarity with the veterans, having stared at them for years.
Yeah, Kevin Burnell was a was a pleasant surprise. Actually, you know, it really wasn't a surprise. I know that I've watched him play junior up in Canada, and he was a real solid player, and it seemed like he's starting to show a lot of confidence in playing in this league. And he's a very smart ball player, so we were happy with him. But we were happy with everybody, you know, especially the way the guys came and battled and earned spots.
Going into this practice, this last practice, what are you looking for mostly? Is it more chemistry-based to figure out lines, or just more work on skills, or what are you looking for in this practice?
The first half of practice will be running, and then after that we'll get into our systems work and you know, start doing a little bit of things with regards to what Philadelphia does and what we think they're going to do. So, yeah, that's what we'll be doing.
I'm late with a lot of the players that are staying out this year for the World Championships in the summer. What's your feeling about that between the U.S. and the Canadian players?
I don't have any feeling. I don't really care, to be honest. If a guy doesn't want to play, then why would you want to have him in your lineup, right? So, you know, we're fortunate here in Buffalo that we got guys that want to play and guys that went late on the line. So that's somebody else's worry and somebody else's problem.
So the status with Paul Rabel, is that the reason why he's not playing this year?
No idea. I have no idea.